May I interject? I have a couple of questions.
Yeah. Please go ahead. I think I will stop here. I will until people ask. I will. My part is done. Now we get into the questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mujahid sir. So first question is more of a and thank you very much for explaining. I've just got things which I was looking for like months, and now I have clear visibility. Implementation perspective. So this whole vector space, you said like multi-hundred billion, points, data points, or like the representations, where they are like physically located. Is it, correct me if I'm wrong, is it a Google data center where all that data is present? Or, and the question set number two is, when you say it learns and it if we start putting 2 + 3 = 9 million or trillion times, what does that it mean? I mean, where we are actually doing that operation or storing that data into? So where is the repository? That's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. That repository is with OpenAPI. And that big honking, database with 107, are a bunch of matrices, which is the search space. This matrix of all those, vectors, that is with OpenAI somewhere. And to find that similarity, there are a lot of ways. First of all, before even to create that, there's the LSTMs and the recurrent neural networks, and attention is what you need. What they did is they made it very parallel. They parallelize it to the nth degree. Means they can train it fast. Now, when it is trained it fast and saved it, this big honking metric is then we do non-negative metrics factorization or any other factorizations. Basically, finds you the similarities. And that is also very parallel operations, So when you are typing and millions of people are typing in real time, it is going in real time into that big giant matrix, and it's factorizing it, and you push and giving you the answers back. So it is stored by OpenAI in their data centers. I don't know where they are.
Thank you.
Arshia, you have a question?
Yeah, it's a very I'm an end user kind of thing. So thank you very much for providing a deep learning thing. So Dr. Saab, my question is very simple. So it means that we can get the answer like you told that 2 + 2 is 5. So yeah. From a perspective of the specialist, I'm water resources specialist. If I am like similarly there are other field specialists in the conversation there too. So it means that end product should be, if we are asking Chat GPT that provide us a professional response, so end product should be reviewed by a professional. Is that true?
100%. 100%. It acts as a business expert, but as I said, it can make those mistakes of hallucination. It can generate some content based on what is already found. It will be closer to that, but it has basically made it up. But that made it up, it doesn't mean that it has a brain to make it up. It does not have, it's not thinking what is making it up. It doesn't have a clue, what it is making it up, but it's basically interpreting the same, distribution or same space and giving you some answers, which might not be right at all. And you as a onus as a business expert is on you to validate and verify.
Yeah, I think there was a case study, some attorney from New York actually, while going to some court case, I mean, he just got some citation and it was totally wrong. And I mean, obviously he lost the case and stuff. I think Musa raised his hands. Musa bhai, you have a question?
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab. Assalamu alaikum, all the engineers. Assalamu alaikum, Irfan bhai. Thank you so much for blessing us this an amazing opportunity. The word Chat GPT is known everywhere. Maybe every newborn who is 1 year old or a senior who is 100-year-old, Chat GPT and artificial intelligence AI is everywhere. My humble question is that please kindly put some your own thoughts that there are more than 100,000 disciplines all over the world where engineering, where medicine, where law, where research, technology, and I am more particular with our young one, youth, who are in Canada or anywhere in the world. What you suggest that do we have some plans under your umbrella where, let's take an example, an engineer who just graduated and he wants to introduce a model, as you had mentioned in your presentation, modeling, or an tax expert, where, let's take an example, they are working in different organizations and they want to introduce a new model with AI, with ChatGPT, to their superiors, to their bosses. Do under your umbrella there is some sort of a workshop or something available where all these young ones can get your guidance, and of course when they will present this model to their superiors, to their bosses, to their multinational organization, that will work and that will help for the growth for themselves and of course your own organization? This is my question.
Yeah, very good question. It has two facets. When Google was not there, there were a lot of organizations who, and I included, I was at that time in Lahore LUMS. We started a project together, the road use, land use data, so that we can sell it to MapQuest at that time or somebody who is interested. Then Google came and they started collecting their own data. We are at a stage now in large language models where this domain specific word to vec or sentence to vec or book to vec has to be done. There are some, the data which is available on the web is tip of the iceberg. How much data you have put on your web server, that is what OpenAI has access to, or they have trained Wikipedia or some other silver platter or other databases which are publicly available. But organizations have tons and tons of data sitting behind their firewalls in their file system. That GPT is not exposed to that. To expose GPT to that, you can do transfer learning. You can first do vectorize that data. You can sell it then. If you're a law firm and you have a lot of your own cases, or if you're a doctor or a hospital who have their own cases which are not exposed and those diagnoses are not available in the public domain, you can train. You can not only training has become now very easy, just like what they did on the whole entire universe. You can do it on your own corpus. Tools are out there already. I'm actually already doing it. So you can train that model. Means you can create those word embeddings or sentence embeddings, as DoorDash has done. DoorDash has an embedding on people who buy food, right? Which you can which restaurants are buying now. The same way organizations can come up with their own embeddings. I'm building my own embeddings actually in one domain, right? I'm gathering a lot of data and building, and the intention is basically to sell those embeddings, whosoever needs it. Just like Google needed those coordinates, to display on the map 20 years ago. Yeah, so your question is very, very, very good question, basically. It has two facets. Number one, every organization who has a data, who's sitting on a gold mine of data, need to vectorize their data so that it can be, whatsoever construct they have built on top in OpenAPI, that can be utilized, and by feeding your own data, right? Number one, but without losing, if you train your own model and do a transfer learning, you are not giving your own model, your own data to anybody else. It stays with you. A lot of organizations, particularly banks, they don't want to lose their data to anybody else. Secondly, training people. Yes, this technology, it sounded rocket science, but it's not a rocket science. It's very, very easy to wrap your head around. We know that it's nothing. It's basically vectorizing, digitizing the language, digitizing the written word, right? And that can do marvelous things. Now, younger people who has a little bit of, algebra done, they can do this, right? And they can build their own models and they can make money or they can sell it, right? So youth should come up. And I am actually have run a very small startup. I'm always looking for good people. So if you can refer, I might offer internship.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Burhan sir,
I have
Yeah.
one question.
So I have one question. So for example, now what I understand is that, like, for example, the ChatGPT, the current state of the ChatGPT is not be a source of, like, for example, if I have my own model, like, for example, if I'm thinking of predicting some stock price or XYZ, if I have my own, it means that I still has to go through the deep learning and creating a model and all the AI standard things that I have to do. So I have to do everything over there. I cannot take the advantage of ChatGPT at this point because I don't know my model has been vectorized or not vectorized. So my question is that I was thinking that now because of the ChatGPT, I don't need to create my own model. I just use the ChatGPT and get the answer from it. Now after this conversation, I'm thinking that no, I need my own model. I have to go to the same basic AI principles, classification. I want to make sure that my model is being trained and good prediction. Then I start thinking of the vectorization of that model to link with the ChatGPT tool, so that then now ChatGPT understand the parameters that my model has and then give me the answer. So this is the right thinking, or it's something
100% right, and that is the only way. ChatGPT knows a lot of stuff. I went and I asked him, build me a car rental system. You can ask him anything. It already knows a lot of stuff. It knows. But I have a book sitting here, which I wrote with my own pen, ink, and it's sitting in my table. ChatGPT has never seen that. It cannot give me answers from that book, right? The same is the case with enterprises. Enterprises' data is behind firewalls. Nobody has ever seen it. That data you need to vectorize, but instead of reinventing the wheel, which is basically question answer, and how they do attention is what you all need, how they build the neural network. You can do a better transfer learning. Instead of building your own open API tool, you can use whatsoever they're done by transfer learning. But what is the prereq for transfer learning is you have to build your own model as they are saying it, right? So you find, and a lot of libraries has those constructs, you can build your model very quickly, and your data is not going to be, trillions of, documents. It is going to be a little smaller, right? But it's proprietary, right? So you do that and you mix it up with, you do a transfer learning. Means if you have a specialized car and you want to do, take advantage of all other cars which, a large language model have seen, you are in a better off combining these two instead of, relying only on your small data set because it might not have enough features. So transfer learning is the key. You have to train your own model. You have to create your own vec. You have to create whatsoever it is, its own vectorization. You have to do it. And then transfer learning with ChatGPT or any other system to get you the best answers.
So it means that in today's AI, we have, before ChatGPT, we create models and like an example of the stock price or whatever. But now this is the new concept of vectorization of the data. So it means that we have to add this layer now in every AI model. Vectorization is
not every AI model. I mean, if you are only doing building, a chat type of system that gets to the answer, yes. For let's say for computer vision, recognizing the images, you won't do this, right?
Okay.
Okay, so Said Saab, you have a question?
Yes. How does the ChatGPT determine the emotions, feelings that Geoffrey Hinton is scared about?
No, he's not scared about the emotions and in ChatGPT as we have it, right? ChatGPT does not have any emotions. They actually nullify the emotions. Means, if any bias or any emotional, result comes back, they actually manually remove it. Manually, by manually, I mean, they have written specialized code for that. But what Geoffrey Hinton is worried about is the capabilities of general AI. Now, we saw when 2013-14, this Word2Vec came. Though when it came, the people who are in this space, I, banged my head on the wall. I said, "What the heck we can do now? We can do arithmetic with words, right?" And I was astonished, amazed when it came out, when this lexical search, started. And only 4 or 5 years later, look what happened. They used it, to amaze everybody, right? It is amazing tool. The things it does is, like I am making money out of it, right? So I'm using it. I have reduced 6 months of work with 6, clicks, right? So the similar, this is one facet of AI. This is only one side of AI, and you saw that it's not a rocket science. There are 10 or 100,000 other sides of AI which are progressing with the same speed. This is what is worrying Geoffrey Hinton and Joshua Bengio in University of Montreal. These are the two very renowned computer scientists on Earth, right? And they are rightly so. We need to put more bells and whistles. We need to put more policies. But the argument against them is if the developer does that, puts that policies there, Russia is not going to do that. China is not going to do that. They're going to progress. So literally, there is no way. We were actually 2 times we were at verge of collapse in our financial markets by high frequency trading. And I remember somebody is doing something in trading. High frequency trading, the algorithm versus algorithm within fraction of a second, buying and selling. That's such a big market. 25% of our markets are high frequency trading, and it has failed twice. They have to nullify 2 days transactions. Obama tried to legislate against it. They can't. It's a big market now, billions of dollars invested, right? So the Geoffrey Hinton and Joshua Bengio, what they are saying is we will hit by the AI very hard. We have to be very careful, and that is a matter of time. It's not, it's not if, it's just when.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the feelings and emotions that he mentioned.
No, he doesn't have feelings. This system does not have feeling or emotions. It can mimic feelings of emotions whatsoever it find it in that vector space.
And actually, I think this is
if you ask him cuddling a dog is a happy feeling or bad feeling, guess what? It's going to tell you happy feeling. But is it the feelings of ChatGPT? No, it's found in the literature.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. So I think now Haris Saab raised his hand and then Mujahid Nazir Saab. So Mujahid Nazir Saab, you can start with your question and you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to thank Irfan Saab and Jazeb Saab for arranging excellent topic for discussion, and it was a tremendous presentation from Mujahid Saab. I would like to thank you, sir. It is amazing for me, and especially for my son who is also going to Ryerson University in computer engineering this year.
Right.
So I'll definitely tell him to see this and go through it. So my opinion before this presentation was that it is a solution of everything, but in reality, what I have gone through all this is it's a good tool to get information in one place, but before deciding, analyze it, evaluate it, what is right, what is wrong. It's not a straightforward guideline that you pick it and use it. Am I right on that?
100%. The inherent generative, classification, when we basically maximize the probability. And somebody asked, question, I think it was in your question, Irfan Bhai, how we know that this is right or wrong, right? There are a few systems, GPT-0, or a few other systems that are out there. You can use that. So how they do it, basically, Now it's basically assigning a probability in the whole sentence to different words, and they should. So we know that the sum of probability is always 1. So this is what they do. Those systems, they look at their the parameters which ChatGPT returns, and they look if the submission is 1, it's generated by ChatGPT. It's not generated by human, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of other ways, to check. It's that trend. In the academia, the system we use to check plagiarism, it also has now built-in checker when it comes to ChatGPT. If you are more than 20%, from ChatGPT, you will be under plagiarism. So there are a lot of ways to do that, to look into. But coming back to your question, that should human look at it? 100%.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time and valuable information for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Jadabhai, there's another question. How do AI chatbots handle and learn from user feedback to improve their performance?
Yeah, so that is basically, when you are building the prompt, you're asking the question. GPT-3 was released in, I started using it in November 2020, right? But it did not have,
I think cutoff date is September 21.
Yeah, no, but ChatGPT-3 came later. The only thing they did in ChatGPT-3 when it became popular, language model was there already, for public use. API was even there, I was using it. Chat builds, your context. Chat builds the context you're talking about, It basically now has a more longer query when you are chatting with it to go and search the answers than, one single set, right? So that people call it, prompt engineering. So when I was doing it, I did prompt engineering my own way. It means I build a better context by asking for a few questions. But, if you have that better context in your question, guess what? You're going to get a better answer because that is a better answer available in that vector space, right? So that is basically not learning from your own, from your feedback. It's basically building the better prompt.
Okay.
Can I have a question, Mujahid sir?
Sure.
This is just regarding yourself. What was your motivation, desire, or need moving from civil engineering to IT?
It's a long topic, sir. To be very honest, I came here in 99, I came to Canada. And at that time, MATLAB was the language. And I took a course at University of Toronto on neural networks. Before I came to Canada, trust me, my belief system was that God has created human brain. And now he's sitting up there watching a show that how my creation can find me. It's such a marvelous thing, that, God is also himself astonished, amazed, what I have created. And he has not given us any clue and is asking human brain to find me. But when I wrote my first neural network, very small one, a couple lines of code in MATLAB in 1999, that belief of mine was shattered. I said, no. This is so simple thing. Learning is very simple. God is beyond that. It's not the purpose of creation, right? So it was fascinating for me. I mean, I left civil engineering. I left a very good paying job here in North America to come to this side. It was fascinating. It was the moment you learn things. And then Alhamdulillah, in 2001 or 2, I was able to publish something in cancer research, which they still use it for lung cancer. Purely pattern matching, it's AIR, machine learning, you can call it. University Health Network, they still use that software for lung cancer, classification. So it was pure interest. I might have made more money by sticking to my civil engineering, but I switched completely out of interest and curiosity.
MashaAllah. Very fascinating, and I think you have a very sort of strong reason behind that to switch your thing, and you find something that suits your passion. So, mashallah, that's great. So there's another thing. I think a lot of us talk as well that can we call it a disruptive technology? Like, like it is like before machines, they were just tools basically. And right now, the way it is going that side, that this machine can think as well, and it can make suggestion and all that. So whatever like human intelligence, wisdom is available out there. So it has an access to all that. And obviously with the passage of time, it will have more data and hopefully accurate data. And so based on their data, it can, do the thinking for you. So basically thinking was the one of the sort of main advantage that human beings has on other species and all that. So when it is taking away that sort of, feather from your cap, so what is left basically? I mean, it can, I think, do any jobs better than humans, basically, a lot of those kind of jobs. And obviously in the future, it can take more basically. And, the kind of work ethics or like after industrial revolution, we are used to, like, we derive our meaning of our existence from our work as well. And when that work is not anymore, and when we cannot get any sense from any kind of accomplishments, when machine is doing most of that stuff, so do you think it can deprive the human being of the meaning in life, and that can create some sort of social unrest, or it may take some time to readjust to those things, or it's just like all fancy stories?
My personal opinion, you don't have to agree with that. It has disrupted and it will disrupt a lot of things. Let me tell you how. I started with an example of doing the system design documentation. It generally takes, if you are in a bank, you know that Deloitte will come, 6 people will come, they'll generate a 200-page document of your system after charging you $1 million. They are not needed. My goal is, that one high school graduate or university graduate with a click of a button will do the same job that 6 highly paid consultants did. So that is, that is going to occur in almost every profession. If I used to go to architects, civil engineer, so that they can draw some drawing with a 3-bedroom in it, right? My head never wrapped, around those needs of my clients. So now ChatGPT-3 literally arranges it much better than a human can do. It is expert, as we saw, it is expert in car business. It's expert in, restaurant business. It's expert in every business, You need not to hire an expert anymore. You need not to hire a lawyer. You will not need a doctor, right? So it will do it for you. So is not that a disruption? We will just see, in not years to come, for months to come, we will see how it is going to disrupt. But our discussion today was, there has to be a man in the middle. There has to be, not man in the middle, that's the wrong term in security terms. Man in the loop. It has to be a man in the loop. But that man doesn't have to be now, people used to say, oh, I spent 30 years in this domain, I am the expert. No, you are not the expert. Now, a university grad, a high school kid who can use their brain can become expert with these tools. They augment us, right? So it will disrupt on a very different way. Our authority, is gone. I cannot say now I now use every day. I use ChatGPT to code. My coders, I don't need to hire the experienced coders. I can hire, junior people. Same will be the case in every industry. So you better know about it if you want to be in the game.
Mujahid Saab, I wanted to ask something. Actually, I have 2 requests here. One is that because we got this link from one of the MyUmmah groups, it was shared. Is it possible, and I really requested strongly, that for folks that are new to the AI technology and they are trying to enter into the door of AI, if you can kindly suggest the way or the roadmap for them. This is my first request. And the other request is, before we actually forget, this is an opportunity for us. If it's possible, if Irfan Bhai or anybody else can create like a WhatsApp group where we all can add ourselves and share the link, and then we can collaborate with each other in terms of how we are learning, what we are learning, and maybe if we have any questions, then we can ask there. And sometimes you're doing this presentation now, maybe some of us want to do that later as well, so that we can benefit the community as well. We can ourselves learn the material, and gives motivation for like-minded people as well.
100%. Irfan Bhai,
So-
you start a format. I mean, I can spare myself. I can come wherever I can contribute. We have a UET tech platform. We should utilize that to do this thing.
So if somebody can, maybe Irfan Bhai, is it possible for you to like maybe share some sort?
Yeah, sure. I mean, why don't you call me back, and then we can talk on this one, and
Okay.
we can sort of, decide how to proceed further on this one. So definitely we can.
Yeah, I don't have your information.
Yes, so my telephone number is 416
Okay.
731
Uh-huh.
7372.
7372. Okay.
All
Thank you very much, Irfan Bhai.
So Khurshid Anwar raised hands.
And recording of this will be available also on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I don't have a question with Mujahid Saab. I know him very well. So just a minor comment. He said that there should be man in between by using this one. So instead of man, because it's this society, it's discrimination. We say human being, not man or woman, right? That's one comment.
Yeah, this is a technical term. They use man in the middle in
Okay,
security. There are
okay,
security.
so-
Hold on, I have to answer that. No,
Okay.
man in the middle is a technical term. People in security use it. Man in the loop is used for humanity. It's
But everybody's not technical, so we should use man or woman or human being, right? That's one thing. And second, regarding his change of profession, the question was asked between how it changed from civil engineer to computer science. I still know him as a civil engineer, and still he is a very good structure engineer. When I have discussion with him on structure, he knows structure more than his computer, I would say. He's a very good structure engineer. Till to date, he's a very good structure engineer.
Mashallah.
Just recommend.
He is a mashallah, multi-talented person, and
Yeah, there's a-
it's good to chat with him, and all the time I learn something new. So that's for sure.
Mujahid Saab, how do you recommend someone to get into AI? Like if they wanna start their career as an AI person, what would you recommend? Where should they start?
Well, the starting point is always universities, if the University Inc. survived our lifetime. But right now, still is University Inc. is the place. Another place is going to, to these, edX, Coursera, EduNext. There are a lot of platforms now where a lot of information is available. India has started good, NEPTL, something like that. There's a lot of resources online, right? But if somebody really wants, because still the industry wants a rubber stamp of a university, so going to university is the best place.
Okay. Slimba, you have a question?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Are you talking to me, Saeed?
No, Slim Bhai.
Salim Bhai, sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. Mujahid Bhai, it was a great presentation. I glued it to for the. Or what I know about Mujahid is like, even he is civil engineer, but in the university he had a lot of passion for the IT and the coding at that time. If I still remember, you created software back in 1991, 92. It was you presented to the thing. But the main thing, my question is that you see a lot of, in the mainstream of the society. But a lot of youngsters, they joined also today. I motivated them to listen to your presentation. They might be still there. So what do you think that what professions will be hurt at this point more as compared to others? Because youngsters are quite confused. Like they're going for medical science and they're spending like years and years. And you can see how much sweat they do. But at the end of the day, if ChatGPT will be, better professional than, the people in the white uniform. So what do you perceive for the future of the generation?
Well, it's a very difficult question. Right now, the regular professions, my daughter itself she's preparing to go to med school. Those professions will, still stay. Nobody can see that. And this basically how it works is the mafias. For example, MBA shouldn't cost that much because industry hires only MBAs, that education costs that much. But one thing is for sure, which has again started by these big FANG companies, Facebook, Google, Amazon, all that. Google wrote a book on middle management. Middle management came in industrial age, that workers were managed by people who doesn't know the industry at all, right? They were just people managers. That is changing. Right now, still industry is stuck with, that kind of either you have a degree or this. But as Elon Musk also is a big proponent of that, it will be engineer, or it will be the hands-on guys who will basically become the CEOs or CIOs of the companies, or run the companies. So you need to know the business. Not knowing the business, not hands-on, will not get you to the top anymore. It used to be the different case before. So that is what is coming for the new generation for sure, right? Which profession will stay, which will, it's a very, very difficult question to answer, but every profession will be impacted, right? As I said, I'm talking about from IT consulting, big, there are about, 10 IT companies in India alone, which have 500,000 or more people deployed in the West. TCS, Capgemini, Infosys, and you name it. And the only thing they do is not all of them are designers, coders, they're designers basically of these systems. They will not be doing that anymore. No, people will not be hiring them. People will be using tools like ChatGPT to do those kind of things, right? The same is the case with the lawyers, the best, my first job actually in Canada was a lawyer hired me to do a paid search, and that was on a system called Dialogue Web. It still exists somewhere, which has a legal documents, and to search in that by using and or, you have to pay. At that time, it was $5 an hour, and that lawyer paid me in 1999. That was my literally first job in Canada, that I searched some documents from the database for a lawyer. Now they can use not only that, they can do much more using these tools. So lives will be impacted, doctors will, every profession will be impacted. You can imagine now what wherever expert is required, a computer or a GPT, any transformer model will become your expert in that domain.
Even one would think that software engineers or the developers, they were the most like secure jobs ever. They were never replaceable. Nowadays, if you do not rely on ChatGPT, because it creates the code and everything so quickly, then you are basically easily replaceable.
You are replaceable as a software engineer. But for all professions, I think just like when we used to have typewriters and we went on computers, it is a tool in our hands to basically augment what we do, right? But it definitely removes some of the bad typists, right? So you have to be now good to stay in the loop, and you have to use these tools. If you're not using these tools, you will be left behind and you will be impacted.
Yeah, practically, what I would say is nowadays, it's not nowadays, it started since I would say mid-90s, that since IT came into because IT, of course, it's not just ChatGPT is impacting that one. Before that, if we look into medical profession, the doctors who learned new technologies with reference to integrating with their medical profession, they went at top. Whereas the doctors who were just traditional doctors, they just stayed at the place where they were. So the same thing is going to be happen. So it's continuously, because now in order to become at the top, like if you want to become a specialist or anything, So you have to keep learning. So it's a lifelong learning, and like in IT, like I also worked in IT since I'm in Canada, even back home in Pakistan, I also went into IT as well. So it's keep changing. Like after every, like previously IT was changing after every 3 years. Now every month, like you cannot say this cannot be happen. It can be happen. If someone will ask you that, would it be possible that can we do? No, yes, this is possible. It may happen. Maybe it is not available now, but it may come next month. So
very true. I mean, I think as they say, like sabat ek taghayyur ko hai zamane mein hai, change is the only permanent thing. And nowadays, the speed of the change is much more than before, basically. And I think either you adopt or perish sort of thing. So, I mean, I think those of us who don't adopt will be the dinosaurs or something, or maybe on some universal basic income or whatever, who knows what the future holds. So, Saeed Saab, you have a question?
Yes. What are the other competitive models to ChatGPT and how different they are?
They're a little smaller, Llama, Bird, and there are some in the open as well. You can have that model on your own servers. But ChatGPT 3 and now ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 4 has done a lot of transfer learning on top of ChatGPT 3. I got an email 2 days ago. It is accessible now. I'm using it. So it is the biggest, that's the only advantage. Other than that, technology is more or less the same. BERT will be better because it will have more bells and whistles when it comes to removing the bias or, some racial slurs, removing those and, things like that. So Google is a more responsible company, I would say, I haven't started using it, but probably that will be the better one.
So is it in terms of the database that they have?
Yeah, the number of parameters they have, number of documents they have shown, the number of training they have done is a lot of parallel processing done in a very big honking machine, very expensive, runs for days, and then converges. So it's not real time. I don't know how to do it monthly or bi-weekly or maybe even more.
How about the word-to-vector technology that you just mentioned? Are you using the same one?
Word2Vec is only for words, it's available. Word2Vec, GLOVE, is available for download database. You can download it and use it. If you type GLOVE and download it, it's 50 million words vectorized already. It's free, and there are a few others, which are free too.
Thank you very much.
So Musa bhai, you have a question?
Yes. Thank you again, Irfan bhai, Janzeb Khan Saab. Actually, my question, Salim bhai Saab question, which he put up, and Dr. Saab has answered. It replied to all my query which I was having. But I just want to say one thing. I believe internet was introduced to general public in 1984, and US Army was using internet since 1964. If for the general public, internet 84 to 2023, it take almost 40 years. I believe ChatGPT and AI, this will change the whole universe ethics in 10 years. And I am thankful to you, Irfan bhai, Janzeb Khan Saab, and Dr. Saab. Believe upon me, you all have done an amazing part, an amazing contribution for us. These are golden moments for anyone who has his ears and eyes open. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being the part of it, and thank you very much for encouraging us. So your words means a lot to us. So Mujahid Saab, on to you.
Yes, the ethical sides, and a lot of philosophers are talking about it. Now, these are not my words, are not my thoughts, which I'm going to say, but I believe in those. A little controversial, but we're all educated. We will, listen to me again, not my words. that our humans' belief system, or any religious belief system, or any, let's say, what is my belief system about the education or ethics, comes from some of the stories which society has told me, right? Now, the younger generations who have cell phone in their hand, the stories they are hearing are from two technologies. One is called recommender system. And I think some of us know, and I'll explain what recommender system is. It recommends you some content on which they think, you will have more attention. Means, you watched a video, similar videos will come up. Those reels or those 2-3 second videos, they have a very strong message in them. And that is now being steered. Now imagine ChatGPT on the back of it. It has a lot of stories to tell you. It can mess up with your belief system, whether it's about your upbringing, about your religion, about any belief system. And combine these two things together, it is changing, and I believe now that it will change the opinion of masses on anything they want. That will be a tool that might become a new religion, that become a new norm of life. Younger people, we cannot get rid of the cell phones from their hand. We cannot get rid of Facebook or Pinterest or all those technologies, and they are steering their thoughts. Very, very, very dangerous thing is coming to humanity. And ChatGPT-3 has just made it worse in that perspective.
It is there, and I think the people who are raising the concerns, so these are some of the concerns there, like it can manipulate the people's mind, and even the elections and all that, like the big discussion going on in the coming elections, US, so it can be a huge factor in the next year or so. So yeah, these are all valid concerns, and let's see how we deal with those. So there is someone raised in hand, MSK. MSK.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, walaikum assalam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's your name, sir?
Muhtashim.
Muhtashim. Okay, all right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, Dr. Mujahid Sultan Saab, and Irfan Bhai for arranging this this session. I heard the whole, I'm here since, you started this thing. This reminds me of one hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that he said there will be a time when the Dajjal will be there. And most of the Sahabis were thinking about what will happen and this and that. But Hazrat Ali had asked him, what would be the remedy to all the problems? This is not a question, this is just food for thought. Now this tsunami is going to be coming very soon, and there will be a lot of ramifications on the human being. What are the things that we as Muslims and we as a society, and we have children, and we are concerned about their future, what would be the things that we should be doing to, I don't think we can stop it, but we can procrastinate the effects. Could you just give us short answer? No problem.
Yeah, if it was in my control, I will take complete technology away from kids until they're adults. I cannot do that. It's not possible. I will take them to where there's no internet. There is not that, I'm afraid that they will be looking or watching objectionable content on the internet. That doesn't worry me. What worries me is their brainwashing. What worries me is the content they are being shown on purpose to change their thought process. Not, I'm not talking about vulgarity or, anything. That's okay. That was there. That is not a concern. The concern is changing the thought process of new generation to the extent that they will have a different belief system.
And don't you think that will kill intelligence, human intelligence?
Not really. I mean, our kids are much more intelligent. The information they have, enormous. You and me are very, very slow creatures. They are very fast human beings. The information we have now after 55 years of living here, they have when they are 10, right? So no, they are much more smarter. Smarter doesn't mean that, and they're smarter, and that's what their weakness is. Means, you know, they will be the way information is presented to them makes much more sense than what you and me can tell them, and they are going to believe in it. They are buying into it.
And you know, like there is a barrage of information and like too much information and just overwhelms you sometimes. And there are useful information and that's not useful, and some agenda-based information. So I think they are just stuck and they have to deal with all of those. So it's, I think, the sorting and sifting of what is needed and what to ignore, basically, what to left alone. I think that's the art right now, basically, so that, you know, like we can just keep our sanity and not get into those biases and all that. So I think Ali Dawar Sahab raised his hand. Ali Dawar Abbas.
Assalamu alaikum. And thank you very much to the organizer for a great lecture. So my question is, how can I connect with Brother Mujahid? It has been a very great workshop, and there are a few things. Obviously, it has opened up a lot of things. So I'm wondering how to get in touch with you.
You can write me email. My email, I think, will be shared by Irfan Bhai, and my phone number as well. Anytime, I'll be happy.
Okay, so Ali Dawar Bhai, you can call me or text me and I can share the information, or maybe Mujahid Bhai, you can write in the chat box on the side your email, so that everyone can have the access, basically. Do you think is that?
I am going to write, where is the chat window?
Yeah, so I think then everyone will have that.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking for chat window. Where is in this?
I cannot see the chat window.
I think so. The chat window is inactive.
Yeah,
Inactive?
It is disabled.
Yeah, it's my first name dot last name, Mujahid.Sultan at MLSoft, machine learning soft.ai.
Okay.
Mujahid.Sultan at MLSoft.ai.
Okay. So Ali Sahab, do you have that?
Okay, so yeah, Mujahid.Sultan at MLSoft.ai. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Arshad Sahab, you have raised your hand, and I think maybe it's already like 1:27, so 2.5 hours.
Yeah, thank you very much for organizing this thing. Just a simple question, you know, this is while we're talking about our youth, you know, if UETech can arrange a special session with Dr. Mujahid for the youth, I think that will be very beneficial, and that will help to understand the new challenges of this technology, and they can cope. They can cope perspective of our generation to them, you know, how to tackle that information.
Yeah, I'll be available anytime Irfan Bhai wants me to.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So maybe I think it's the time we can wrap up the things. It's 1:27, so 2.5 hours. So thank you very much, everyone, for your patience and your contribution. I think it's your contribution and the question you raise. I mean, that's really like we got more into detail and get the perspective in place. And the other thing is that I think after today's session, I mean, I was too much impressed from the chat GPT and stuff, but I think some of those mysteries were demystified by Mujahid Bhai. And now it's not that smart. I think I still have a few things, and I think we need to use it with cautious, basically, and do not rely it altogether, because it is just, you know, whatever is available online, basically, it is just giving you back. And I think whatever information or help we get, we always need to have a second look onto that. So thank you very much, Mujahid Bhai, for this amazing kind of presentation. And very informative, very useful. And I think we should do it again sometime. And as Arshad Bhai suggested, maybe we can use tailor-made it for youth as well. So thank you very much for that.
Irfan sir, just one thing I need. I would like to add one thing in your sentence.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
Chat GPT is smarter, but not smarter than the user. Use it smartly.
Yeah, exactly. No, very true. I think that's the whole crux of that. Yeah, definitely.
Before we go, let me share my screen, and those who are in GTA and around, we are having a senior session tomorrow at 11 a.m. in Village Taste, Mississauga. Irfan Bhai, if you could tell more about it.
Yeah, you know, like this was an sort of last year, maybe all of you know that when the floods came to Pakistan, and like we were really concerned over here that what's going on, and like all these G7 countries are producing a lot of pollution, and then all those third world countries has to face that. So then we just, you know, do some fundraisers where the organization from Pakistan, like Al Khidmat and all those, they participated. And afterwards we decided, you know, let's create some awareness over here as well. So then, you know, we approached New Horizons, that's the Government of Canada's organization for sponsoring these kind of programs. So they really liked our idea. So tomorrow would be the first workshop. There we are looking for 30 seniors. Most of those places are already filled, but I think still there might be some room. So if you want to join, please welcome. It's on Village Taste tomorrow at 11 a.m. and brunch will be served. So basically this will be a pilot group. So we will have 2 more workshops like this, and then we will create some literature on environment awareness, and then we will, like, these people will be the environmental ambassadors. So they will outreach to the community and will spread the message, and let's try to, you know, save our planet.
And also don't forget to our
yeah,
picnic.
Yeah, that's a fun, you know, like all that cricket and tug of war and everything. So all that outdoor fun. So just join. That would be next Saturday, and it's in Milken Park.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
okay, thank you very much, everyone. And we will be in contact, inshallah, again. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Appreciate. Thank you. Appreciate.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Musa bhai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, sir. Thank you, Mujahid.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.